short tutorial on making pine pitch glue. It's really easy to make and it's a very versatile substance. People are often using it just to, put a stone point into an arrow or spear, but it has a lot more uses. So we'll do a second video and go over some of those. You're going to need two things. First of all, a pine forest, or at least some pine trees. And second of all, some kind of a container. Obviously I have already used this one, but any sort of metal container will do. Tuna cans are ideal. Once we're in the pine forest, we're looking for places where the sap is bleeding out of the trees. This is a pretty good wound here. It's just dripping down. We could collect a whole bunch of those little drips and make it work. But it'll be a lot faster if we can find a big glob sticking out somewhere. So we'll search for a little while. Searching around a little has paid off. Here's a nice big glob of it. Just going to scrape it off with the stick and go right into the container. I'm picking out any large bits of pine needle and such that I see in there, wood. People will ask exactly what to look for in pitch. I've used different species. The other day I made some that was about 60% white pine and about 40% spruce. It worked wonderfully. There's also different qualities of pitch. You'll often find this red sort of granular stuff, and there's others that it's clear as water, and all of it will work. You'll get a little bit different quality product in the end, but unless you're going to get really intense with this, and you can start experimenting with only using the clear stuff or only using the granular. I usually mix them up and I get a great product that works for everything I use it for. Next you'll need a mortar and pestle and some charcoal that you can just take out of your campfire. There's a lot of recipes out there, some of which use deer droppings or something else to get little fibers in there. I've found that just finely powdered charcoal and the pitch gives me the best glue. I'm going to do this next part on a grill, so we're going to put this onto a few pieces of charcoal that are heating up. I'm going to try to angle it here so you can see what happens. It's just going to turn into a nice liquid for us. I have a stirring stick ready just to mess with it a little bit. Like anything else, some of the edges are going to melt first. It'll start to boil a little bit. I mix that back in. I can pull out any big chunks of anything that doesn't look like it should be in there. And some people like to not have it boil, feeling that it will be too brittle afterwards. I haven't noted a big difference between just heating it up and melting it and letting it boil a little bit, or even letting it boil a fair amount. So my old stuff on the bottom is starting to liquefy and boil already. You can see this is starting to get goopy too. I'm using some modern conveniences, but this is fairly easy to do. Around here I used a clam shell from a freshwater clam as the container, and then everything else you just find out in nature. You're gonna, obviously get the charcoal from your fire and the pitch from the tree. As you try this out, be prepared to experiment. Wherever you are in the world, your pitch may be, it may behave differently. So try some from different evergreens that you have and see what works. Alright, this is as liquefied as this is going to get. There was a lot of crap in here, and so it's still going to make a nice functional glue, but I've been picking out a lot of pieces of bark, and it's a little bit grainier than I'd like it to be. When you move this, do not spill it on you. You will be in a world of hurt. So this is probably not the way to do it, but find your way to safely move it. And add charcoal and start with about equal amounts and see what happens. If you've got it well mixed, it's not going to stick to your hands anymore. And you can just form it right around the end of a stick, and you're making a hot glue stick. There you go. This is ready to reheat and use. And we'll see how it cures out. It should dry to become almost rock hard. That, of course, is depending on the temperature. It's about 90 degrees today, so it'll probably still be, I'll probably still be able to put a fingernail print into it. But we'll give it a couple hours here and take a peek. Okay, it's about 2 hours later. It's also cooled down to about 80, which makes this much harder than it would have been if it was hot. And you can do a fingernail test. It's still warm enough that I'm getting a good dent in there with my fingernail, but I have to push really hard. So that's pretty good. And I think after it cooled off a little bit more, we'd have a nice, strong glue. Now to use it, we just heat it up over the fire again, and it's going to get warm and goopy, and then we apply it and use it as pitch glue. The next video I do will show some different uses of pitch glue and the basic, how-to process of making it work. Right now, it's ready to put into your primitive pack and keep with you as long as you don't go out in the desert where it will melt. Do remember that when this is hot, it's first of all extremely flammable, and it also will never come out of your clothes. So do not get it on your clothes when it's melting. This one came out as really a poor quality glue, I would say, because it has so much junk in there, and I got most of the big pieces out, but still a lot of stuff, so it's grainy and not a real smooth glue. But do remember that this is very, very forgiving, so you can always heat it up again, add more pitch, heat it up again, add more charcoal, heat it up again, add a different quality of pitch, and mix and play with it. It's not, it's not cured in the sense that you are done working with it now. We can put it right back in here, heat it back up into a liquid form, and go ahead and play with it as much as you want. Here's 3 glue sticks that I've made in the last couple days. one on the left is the one that we just made. Pretty grainy, not really high quality. The one in the middle, I used deer droppings as a binder, and I'm not going to do that again. I used to do that a lot in the past, but I just feel like it makes an inferior product. And the one on the right is a really nice high quality one that was made of some less grainy pitch and really fine ground charcoal.